What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for yet another tier list video. You guys killed it with the support on the most recent one. If you guys continue to show the love on these videos, I'm going to keep making them because I think they're a lot of fun. As you can see, today we're going to be ranking current NHL players on their Hall of Fame probability. Actually, not all these guys are current, a couple retired guys in here, but for the most part, current NHL players on their Hall of Fame probability. The tiers we're going to be ranking them in, we got first ballot, so those are the Hall of Fame locks, the guys that are going to go into the Hall of Fame the very first year they are eligible. Then we just have Hall of Fame, so the guys that I think will probably get in. Then we have borderline, which is obviously the guys where I could see it going either way, and then obviously we have no. And as always, I want to know your guys' thoughts, so I will leave a link to this tier list at the top of the description so you guys can go make one up for yourself, screenshot it, tag me in it on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want to do. The link will be at the top of the description. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and get things started with Carey Price. I'm going to put Carey Price in Hall of Fame, maybe not first ballot because I think I'm only going to put about 3 or 4 players in there, maybe even less, but there's no doubt in my mind that Carey Price will one day be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's got a Hart Trophy as a goaltender that is an incredibly rare achievement. He also has a Jennings, a Ted Lindsay, and a Vezina. He won all those in the same season. He's got the most wins by a goaltender in Canadiens franchise history. He's close to top 20 all time in wins by an NHL goaltender. Obviously, we don't really know what the future holds for Carey Price, if he's ever going to play again, but even if he just plays like 1 or 2 more seasons, he's going to crack the top 20. So I definitely think Carey Price has had a Hall of Fame career up until this point. Next up, we have Artemi Panarin, and this is kind of a difficult one. I'm going to put him in no for now. He's definitely one of the best players in the league right now. He's an absolute superstar, but he's already 30 years old. Obviously, when he won the Calder Trophy back with the Blackhawks, he was one of the older Calder Trophy winners in NHL history, played the first several professional years of his hockey career in the KHL, but then again, it is the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's not just the NHL Hall of Fame, so you should take into account those KHL numbers and the success he had over there as well. With that in mind, I think I'm going to change him to borderline because, again, he's still only 30. He could be the kind of player whose game ages really well, and when he's 35, 36, 37, still be one of the better players in the league, right? So I'm going to put him in borderline for now instead of no. Next up, we have Nikita Kucherov. He's going to be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done, without a doubt. He's going to have over 1,000 career points by the end of his career, you know, barring traumatic injury or anything like that. He's got an Art Ross, he's got a Hart, he's got multiple Stanley Cups. And the funny thing is, he's still only 29 years old. I honestly feel like this is a guy who, by the time he retires, could easily be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Next up, we have Tyler Seguin. I'm going to go ahead and put him in the no tier. There was a couple of year stretch, you know, when he first got to Dallas where he was definitely one of the best centermen in the league, but at the age of 30, you can already tell his career is on the downswing, and a big reason for that is because of injuries, which definitely sucks, but that's part of the game. He doesn't have any big individual accolades. He did win a Stanley Cup earlier in his career with the Boston Bruins, but when it's all said and done, I really just don't see Tyler Seguin as a Hall of Famer. He's kind of a guy I would put in like the category of the Hall of Very Good, which isn't a thing, but in my mind it is. I always do this when I make the tier list videos. I spend way too much time talking about each player and the videos go too long, so I kind of want to speed through this. I'm just going to look for some guys that I know I'm going to put in first ballot or that I know I'm going to put in no. I think Justin Williams for me is a no. Obviously, he had a very long, successful career, won Stanley Cups, has a Conn Smythe, is literally named Mr. Game 7. He's got over 1,200 career games played, but wasn't even able to hit 800 career points. For the most part of his career, he was, you know, a role player. There were seasons where he was close to a point a game, but he's another guy like Tyler Seguin I would kind of categorize as like the Hall of Very Good. However, just because of all the team success Justin Williams had, how clutch he was in the playoffs, you know, the whole Game 7 stuff, I definitely think you could make the case that he should be in borderline, but for me personally, I'm going to put him in no for now. Now let's get some of the first ballot Hall of Famers out of the way. Obviously, Ovechkin, in my eyes, the greatest goal scorer of all time. I think by the end of his career, he will break Wayne Gretzky's goal record. I don't even have to go over all Ovechkin's accolades. You guys know he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Same with Sidney Crosby, 2 of the greatest players of all time. I also believe Patrick Kane is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think as of right now, at least to me, he's the greatest American-born player in history. I know sure there's Mike Modano and stuff, but just because of the generation I was born in, I think it's Patrick Kane. He has a ton of individual accolades, obviously a lot of team success with those 3 Stanley Cups. Kane has had an unbelievable career, and the dude is still a beast. I definitely see him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Another guy I see as a first ballot Hall of Famer, Crosby's teammate Evgeny Malkin. I really believe that he's in the conversation for being the second greatest Russian in NHL history behind Ovechkin. I feel like it's him, Datsuk, and Fedorov kind of in the conversation for that spot. Malkin really has had a legendary career, and like the other guys who are up here in the first ballot tier, he's still an absolute beast. I feel like his career kind of gets overlooked, obviously, because he's played with Sidney Crosby for the entirety of it, but I really see him as a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt. Another guy that I feel like is sort of a tough one is actually Patrick Marleau. I'm throwing him in borderline. He has the most games played in NHL history. I feel like that has to alone put you in the conversation for being a Hall of Famer. He's had seasons in where he's been one of the better wingers in the league, been over a point a game. Really unfortunate he was never able to capture that Stanley Cup. Doesn't really have any big individual accolades, but he has won multiple gold medals at the Olympics for Team Canada, and you do have to take that into account here because, again, it is the Hockey Hall of Fame, not just the NHL Hall of Fame. Another thing I think I want to do, I'm going to put Kucherov's teammates up there with him in Hall of Fame. Vasilevsky, Hedman, and Steven Stamkos. All of those guys at one point in their careers have been the best at their position. Stamkos obviously had a 60-goal season, a Rocket Richard trophy. We talked about Kucherov and his accolades already. Hedman, Norris Trophy. He seems like he's a finalist every single year. Same with Vasilevsky and the Vezina. They were all such important parts of the Tampa Bay Lightning winning those back-to-back cups, making it to 3 straight finals. So I definitely see all 4 of those guys as Hall of Famers. The next thing I want to do, we're putting Connor McDavid up there in first ballot Hall of Fame already. To some, that may be premature. To me, it is definitely not. I mean, just look at his trophy case already. 2 Hart trophies, 3 Ted Lindsay awards, 4 Art Ross trophies. McDavid is easily going to go down as one of the GOATs of the NHL. He's only 25 years old, and he already has done so much. I think without a doubt, he's a first ballot Hall of Fame lock. And also, since I put Carey Price in Hall of Fame, I feel like it's only right that Henrik Lundqvist goes there as well. I think you can make an argument between which was the better goaltender of our generation. Both of them were absolutely unbelievable. It's a shame Lundqvist was never able to capture a Stanley Cup, but he had such a big impact on the Rangers. He's got a Vezina, should probably have more than one. He was close to finishing in the top 5 all-time in wins by a goaltender. King Henrik, an absolute beast. Hall of Famer for sure in my eyes. We'll do another goaltender here. Sergei Bobrovsky, I'm actually going to put him in borderline. I mean, I feel like he's had an underrated career. 2 Vezina trophies. If Carey Price doesn't play this upcoming season, which just doesn't look like he's going to, Bobrovsky is likely going to pass him in career wins, which is insane. And since we're talking about goaltenders, we might as well do Marc-Andre Fleury next. Definitely have to put him in Hall of Fame if Lundqvist and Price are. I honestly think Lundqvist and Price have had the better careers in terms of they were a better goaltender than Fleury at their peak, but Fleury has definitely had more success in terms of wins, team success. He has Stanley Cups, all that stuff, and a lot of it is because he played with the Pittsburgh Penguins, who were a powerhouse for such a long time, right? But still, just because he played on such a good team, we shouldn't use that against Fleury. He has had a great career, 3rd all-time in wins, 3 Stanley Cups. He has a Vezina now as well. I would be genuinely surprised if Fleury doesn't get into the Hall of Fame one day, so he's definitely going up there with Lundqvist and Price. Next up, we will do Patrice Bergeron, another guy I'm going to put in Hall of Fame for sure. He's got the Stanley Cup. He's going to hit 1,000 career points this year, barring a season-long injury or something like that. The dude has 5 Selke trophies. He's the best two-way forward of all time. Lots of international success as well. I think it would be crazy not to put Patrice Bergeron in the Hall of Fame. Let's do some younger players now because it's kind of hard to project for those guys, but Austin Matthews is one, maybe not quite on the level of McDavid in the sense that I feel like he's a lock to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, so I'm going to play it safe and put Matthews here for now, but honestly, I think by the end of his career, he is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer pretty easily. You know what? I'm actually going to switch it and put him up there in first ballot. I think he's going to go down as the greatest American NHL player of all time. I think eventually he will take over that spot from Patrick Kane. I think he's probably going to win a lot more Rocket Richard trophies than the 2 he already has. He's got the Hart trophy as well from this season, and if I had to guess, I think eventually he will find some playoff success as well. I don't think the Leafs are going to be cursed forever. Next thing I'm going to do, Jonathan Toews Hall of Fame and Duncan Keith Hall of Fame. It's similar to pretty much everything I said about, Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman, and Vasilevsky. Duncan Keith, multiple Norris trophies. I believe he won a Conn Smythe in one of their Stanley Cup runs. Jonathan Toews, obviously the heart and soul of that Blackhawks dynasty. His career has kind of fallen off a little bit. Unclear if he'll hit 1,000 career points, but still, I think he gets in. Next, we'll do Phil Kessel. I'm putting him in borderline for sure. Another guy who I think has had a really underrated career because, a lot of people like to make a meme out of Phil Kessel, but he has had a very successful and long career. Unless he gets injured in one of the first couple games of this upcoming season, he's going to break the record for the longest Ironman streak in NHL history, which I think is an incredible achievement. He's almost at 1,000 career points. He's won multiple Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he wasn't just along for the ride in those cup runs either. He was a huge part of those cup runs. I think you can make a legit case that he should have a Conn Smythe trophy, so he is a very strong Hall of Fame case, I feel like. I actually just decided to make another row here at the bottom and say too early, and I'm going to throw MacKinnon, Draisaitl, and Mitch Marner and Barkov all in that row. I think it is likely that all of these guys will have very strong cases to make the Hall of Fame when their career is all said and done, but none of them are really on the level of a McDavid and a Matthews as to where I can say, I mean, these guys for sure I think are going to be legendary, be some of the best players of all time by the ends of their careers. That's why I was so confident putting them up there, even though they're both still pretty young. If I had to put them in one of these 4 tiers, I would put all 4 of these guys, Barkov, Marner, Draisaitl, MacKinnon, in Hall of Fame here, because I think that's where they're going to end up, but just to play it safe, I am going to put them in too early and keep that as a tier. Next, we'll do Brad Marchand. I feel like this is kind of a tough one. I'm going to put him in borderline. He's a bit of a late bloomer, didn't really become one of the best players in the league until he was like 29, 30 years old, but his career has aged beautifully. He's just gotten better and better. We'll see how much longer he can keep up that level of play, you know, into his mid to late 30s, but for now, I would say he's definitely a borderline Hall of Famer at this point. If his career ended right now, I don't think he gets in, but I think there's still room for, you know, racking up achievements and points and stuff like that, so that's why he's in borderline. Next, we'll do Blake Wheeler, another guy who is also a bit of a late bloomer like Brad Marchand, didn't, you know, start putting up those over a point per game seasons, those 90-point years until he was into his early 30s. I'm gonna say no for Blake Wheeler. He's got a chance at 1,000 career points. I'm not sure if he'll hit it or not, but he doesn't really have any big individual awards, not a whole lot of team success in terms of like playoffs, Stanley Cups, or anything like that, not a whole lot of international success either, so he's another guy I would kind of put in the Hall of Very Good. I don't think he gets into the Hall of Fame. Drew Doughty is up next. Since I have Keith in Hall of Fame, I feel like I gotta put Doughty up here. He's won 2 Stanley Cups, obviously was the best defenseman on both of those Stanley Cup winning teams. He has a Norris Trophy, over 1,000 career games, over 500 career points, lots of international success as well, and I feel like he still has a lot left in the tank, so I'm definitely confident in putting Drew Doughty up there in Hall of Fame. These guys' careers, you know, are kind of connected. They were teammates and very good teammates for so long, so I'm gonna rank them together. Getzlaf and Perry, I feel like, are tough to rank. I'm gonna put them in borderline for now. I feel like both of these guys won a cup earlier in their career with the Ducks. You know, Getzlaf has over 1,000 career points. Corey Perry doesn't yet, but he has a Hart Trophy. They both have Olympic gold medals. I feel like these two are really tough to rank. I'm going to leave them in borderline for now, and since those guys are in borderline, I feel like that's also where Jason Spezza and Eric Stahl belong, and there's another Getzlaf down here. I'm not quite sure why. I didn't make this tier list. It was just already on there, so double Getzlaf, I guess. Put him in borderline as well with the other one. Let's get Joe Thornton ranked now. Definitely Hall of Fame. Honestly, feel like you can make a case he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Over 1,500 career points. He's won an Art Ross. He's won a Hart Trophy. I think the one thing holding him back from really being up here is that Stanley Cup, maybe. That Stanley Cup that he wasn't able to win, obviously. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Joe Thornton is going to be a Hall of Famer one day. And again, I think you can make the case that he could be up there. Let's get Kopitar ranked now. I'm putting him in Hall of Fame. 2 Selke trophies, 2 Stanley Cups, well over 1,000 career points now, and he's still going strong, so I definitely think he has a really, really good case to be a Hall of Famer. Erik Karlsson, for me, is going to go in borderline. I kind of just wonder if, like, his absolute peak was long enough to be, like, a lock to go into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, he's one of the greatest offensive defensemen of our generation, 2 Norris trophies. His career has definitely fallen off quite a bit since becoming a member of the Sharks. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with injuries, which is definitely unfortunate, but I love Erik Karlsson. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I just don't know if I feel confident putting him up here at the likes of these guys because his peak wasn't, you know, quite as long as a lot of these guys' peak was. Next, we have Claude Giroux. I feel like he's in a similar tier as the likes of, you know, Eric Stahl and Ryan Getzlaf, so I'm going to put him in borderline as well. Brent Burns, I don't think he gets in. Like Erik Karlsson, one of the greatest offensive defensemen of our generation, has a Norris. I just don't know if he has the accolades, or he's going to have the accolades by the time he retires to have a legit case at the Hall of Fame. I feel like he's kind of teetering in between borderline and no. He's like a low borderline for me, I guess. And last but certainly not least, we have Nicholas Backstrom. I feel like, again, he's kind of in the same tier as like a Giroux, a Getzlaf, and Eric Stahl. So I'm going to put him in borderline, but he's like a high borderline. I think he has a really good chance of being a Hall of Famer one day. So that is going to wrap up today's video. That was me ranking current NHL players on their Hall of Fame probability. Like I said at the beginning, I want to know your guys' thoughts, so go make this tier list for yourself. Tag me in it on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want to do. If you enjoyed this and you want to continue to see these tier list videos, be sure to leave it a like, continue showing that support that you've been showing on the last couple, and most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.